This type here, Yerushalmi Pesachim. In the article, Osva Hadesha were mamish at the top of Lamed Ches and Shachto, and in the Vilna that is the on the bottom of Lamed Beis and Beis, the fourth line from the bottom. Almost might as well now look inside for the next few lines because they're going to make a significant amount of changes. And I saw one of the changes. I have my Gemara with a notation Daled Ayin, which is Das Atzmo, me referring to my own change, and I saw the article makes the same change right at the beginning. So, okay, I'm glad to see that the article makes the change as well. So this is Rabbi Chananya speaking, and it's kind of like Hanania speaking, and it's kind of like a repeat of what we had yesterday. The large Rabbi Yochanan, which Gemara ultimately rejected, comparing psul to pigul. In other words, that one can extrapolate from one type of thought to the other type of thought in compacting the thoughts on each other. So again, there's a lot of changes in following Gemara. Ilu shachto, and we take the next three words. The words lishmo, lizrok, damo. So it should be, that's my change, the article's change as well. Ilu shachto shelo lishmo. Yishafta shelo lishmo shema eino. It says pigul in the Vilna. It should say, and the article changed in the article as well, puzzle. Shalishmo is not pigul, it's puzzle. Ilu shachto shalishmo shema ain't a puzzle. Okay, shachto lishmo lizok damo shalo lishmo. If you shachto lishmo to be zorik damo shalishmo, it should also be puzzle, right? Because we should compact the thought of shalishmo onto the thought of lishmo in the shchita, and it should be puzzle. Because similarly, ilu shachto lekabo damo shalo lishmo. Also, if you shecht it, the kabel damashal lishmo, right? The shema ain't a puzzle, right? So, be talking about zrika sadam, the kabbalah sadam. So, il shachto kabel damashal lishmo shema ain't again. Coordinated changes here from kosher to puzzle. Now, kabbalah itself, shalishmo doesn't puzzle. Unlike zrika shalishmo, which does puzzle. Kabbalah itself, Shalishma doesn't puzzle, right? Nevertheless, it's still puzzles. The compacting thought puzzles the shchita. That's Rabbi Yochanan's svara. V'shchas Kabbalah mechashavu. Shchas Kabbalah is machshava puzzle. It doesn't puzzle, right? If you thought about Kabbalah, Shalishma doesn't puzzle. Yet thinking at the time of shchita, the Kabbalah Shalishma will puzzle. Even if you come to that avoda and there's no mechashev for that avoda itself, that avoda if you did a kabbalah is okay. He can mechashev from this avoda to it, from another avoda to it. In other words, mechashev from shchita to kabbalah and apostles. So we see compacting thoughts is more severe, because the Kabbalah itself, I'm repeating myself, Kabbalah itself, Shalishmo, is okay. Thinking at the time of the Shechita to do Kabbalah Shalishmo is not okay. Ilu Shachto Shalishmo. Now, the Gemara makes the same comparison to people, like I said we had yesterday. Ilu Shachto Lishmo. If you shecht it Lishmo, Laktir Mun Shlo Lishmo. Now, again, here we would have to change it. I didn't bother changing in my text, but it's the same change we had but previously they talked about obviously Shlobis, or you don't have to change like we said yesterday. Just understand it this way that Sholish Maya means Chutzis Mana Chutzim Kaima. So it goes to pigul here. Il Shach Lishmo Laktir Min Sholish Maya. If you shecht it for the right time, to be Maktir Morim not the right time. Sheme pigul is not pigul. Shasak Torah ain't a mechashev. Right, the time of Torah there's no issue of doing the activity or the thought to chutzis mano, right? So Hare could get, nevertheless it passes the thought of shchita to do the Torah. If you come to that avoda, and here I think we have to reverse the words, even though reverse the words. You have to interpret it this way. Let me see if the article reverses the words. He does. Again, you have a saying more that Sassimo, and the article reverses as well. So it's partial, obviously. They can't, in the Torah itself, there is no psul chutzis ma'al chutzim kaimo. Who mechashiv me'avodah ches law is mechashiv another avodah to it. It passes. Right, so we see compacting thoughts. I mean, let's say Pigo apostle. He said, no, like we said yesterday, you can't bring a ride from Pigo to apostle, and the fact they're not comparable. Yes, Rabbi Yochanan makes the point you're making, but you can't bring a ride from Pigo. That doesn't make it work because I'm ready to say Pigo absul. The Rabbi Yisrael said the training land lo dame machshavas Pigo machshavas sul. Yeah, yesterday like we said yesterday, from two reasons. It's good, no comparison from Pigul to Psul, because by Pigul we said that's the whole idea. Pigul that it's an idea you're mechashev as opposed another avoda, but by Psul it's not comparable. And so you say yesterday Rabbi Yossi brought two rayas for that yesterday, but here it's we're just quoting Rabbi Yossi's statement, and that there's no, which really is even though only being the first raya that not bringing down Ochel again. So so he says that this is the idea that Psul and Pigul are inherently different. Psul is on the same avodah. Pigul is by definition on another avodah. Okay, so now it goes back to the base of Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish, which we have with the Mechashi avodah or not. And obviously, until now we understand Rabbi Yochanan Machmir, right? Because you can bring in a Psul from another avodah, from Zerika or even from Kabbalah, like we just saw, to Shchita. And Reish Lakish says you can't. So Gemara says, what's another nafkamina between the two of them? It says just man, so plenty of nafkamina still now. But what's another nafkamina? And it seems that, although it's not explicit in Gemara, at this point, we're looking for a nafkamina which Rabbi Yochanan is the kula, and Reish Lakish is the chumrah. So he says, if you switch around, there's a chilufin. I think chilufin means again that I have an afkamina l'kula, and it's going to be a kula in other other times of the year by Korban Pesach. Shachto lishmo, you shech the Korban Pesach lishmo, which you're not supposed to do the rest of the year. It's Oktober Shalol Lishmo. So the Zrika said, "Nam Shalol Lishmo b'Shari Moshe Shana." Right? Any other day besides Pesach itself, you're supposed to shech Shalol Lishmo. So it'd be a Shlomim, not L'Shem Pesach. So I dieted Rabbi Yochanan Kosher. Rabbi Yochanan is Korban's Kosher because it says Chashim La'avoy La'avoida. So the Chumrah also the Kula. The Machshava Shalol Lishmo, which you had in mind to do the Zrika Shalol Lishmo, gets compacted onto the Machshava the Shchita Lishmo, and it's a psul. And in this case, a psul is a good thing. That's what makes the Korban Pesach kosher the rest of the year when it's not done with Shem Pesach. Al dai Rabbi Yochanan kosher, al dai to the Rabbi Shimon Lakish possible. Rabbi Shimon Lakish it's possible because Rabbi Shimon Lakish also aim the fact that you had in mind to do the Zrika Shol Lishmo, it's not going to help you. This the Shech, this Korban Shlomi, the Shem Korban Pesach, Shem Moshe Shana, and it's possible. So there's an Afkamina, but Rabbi Yochanan is a Kula. Okay, so now we're on the topic of a Pesach Shai Moshe Shana. We continue along those lines. Rabbi Yochanan said, "Adam Mali Abba Bar Abba." On this, Abba Bar Abba said to me, Abba Bar Abba Avud Shmuel. His name was Abba Bar Abba. So evidently, Avud Shmuel, like Shmuel himself, although there was some Babel, came to learn Eretz Yisrael and interact with Rabbi Yochanan. He must have been significantly senior to Rabbi Yochanan because Rabbi Yochanan was more of a contemporary Shmuel himself. But so on this, Abba said to me, "Dinun Omrin," that they say, and he's going to ask a question in that which they say. In other words, they say X. Abba Rabba asked questions on this X. Okay, so what's X? I know the Pesach in the rest of the year can be changed for the purpose of Shlamim and be Rosh Shlamim. Tam Lomar V'Minatzon Korban. If that which is from sheep is his korban, Lezevach Shlamim. It is brought, can be brought for a shlamim. Koshu min hatzon, anything which is from the tzon, but shlamim comes as a shlamim. So the korban here is important. Min hatzon korban no lav krois serkodarish. Korban brings up two pshatim. First shot is we're not dashing a superfluous pasuk, a mashmusa the crop mashali, but rather that we're expounding the meaning of the pasuk. Mashali hachad, this is what it seems to indicate. In davar ba min hatzon. If the thing, the korban which comes from sheep, Tainu Pesach, which is a Pesach, Sheba Elmi Natzon, which only comes from sheep, you can't bring a cow as a korban Pesach. Ain't the base of shame, but minatzon. Her carbon, if that was your carbon, harelu zevach shlomim. It can be for zevach shlomim. Al korchel el shlo bezmano kamar. It must be going shlo bezmano. The bezmano, because if it's going to bezmano, he finally have possible. He said it's possible if it's bezmano and it's a shame korban pesach, and not a shame lishma. So that's one way of understanding the drasha here. Inami or else. Since previously even about korban, right? Previously about bakar, miklas ha'achab so marry, right? So obviously here it's about so, right? Could you said, I'm not sure exactly what he wanted the pasuk to say, but could have said, vim korban. I don't know, but somehow it says korban would have been obvious. So therefore, Miklad the Hacha, but somebody came min hatzom yutar drasha. So according to the second pshat of the Korban, the min hatzom is superfluous. And that's why we're dashing. I like the first pshat of Korban better. It's not superfluous. It's the language min hatzom, and that seems which indicates something uniquely min hatzom, and that's the Gemara is not going to come now and discuss. Okay, but he does give a second shot that it's from the Yitur, that it's a Yitur the Crow, which I don't fully understand, as I just said. Okay, it says Gemara again. They say and that they asked. What about Oila? Oila also comes. Now the next words, word mean we do say, but Ela mean is taken out by the carbonata. So we're going to take it out to two. So you want to Ola, me not so. Ola comes from so. How you know the post say about from Pesach? Maybe say about carbon No, you also Ola Shibah Filim Min HaBakar. Because here it's about something specifically which comes from so only. And you could be an Ola as a cow as an Ola. So therefore the post is not talking about the cow, it's talking about sheep. It must be talking about Pesach. What do you mean, says Mar? Hari Osham. What about an Osham? An Osham only can be a male ram. But it's a sheep. So therefore, maybe the talk about Osham. No, says Gemara, Amray Bum Barkana, min hatzon, something which comes from sheep, right? Davar mi kol hatzon, something which comes from any sheep. You have Osham shein abal min elam milvad. It's a post which only come from the it can only come from rams. It can't come from ewes. If that's the term, from female sheep. The article changes the gear, so he points out that there also that the Korban Pesach comes from goats and sheep, either or, whereas the Asham only comes from sheep and only from the male sheep. Okay, so he changed the gear, so to Arei Asham Einan Sheba Elamin HaKvasim Bilvad. Can't come from Izim. Anyway, so the Gemara says, everybody changed gears here as well. The Moshe and the Carbon Ada. Amar Min is Lemite. So Min Hatzon should be a mute, which would indicate only some of the tone, which would be more in line with having it be referring to an Asham. So it only comes from some sheep. Only from sheep, not from goats. Not from sheep, not from goats. Amar l'rabos. So you're saying it's l'rabos. That means it's only means both sheep and goats, or both males and females, right? So here it's Amar Imam said, Miyato. This also is a mute, right? She'ena ba elamina. It's a might asham. It's a might. Asham she'ena ba elamina elam levav, which only come from Elim. Okay, so far, again, we're still holding this possible still for the Korban Pesach. Okay, so now we still have another question. I guess all these questions are asked by Abba Barabba, by Abu Dishmol. Hey, got another pasuk which says that minatzon karmano kvasim are from Izim, which is surely going to Korban Pesach, which comes from kvasim and from Izim. It could be it's laola. Okay, but dash minatzon this pasuk. That's for not to generic sheep, not to sheep which are starting from scratch, and that you can bring them as a pasuk would indicate. Sure, bring any sheep is no law. Maybe here too, minatzon first to Korban Pesach. And me'atav, that's the case, Mosar Pesach, there's the word ain here in the Vilna, the only Farshim take it out. Ba'ola. Let's learn this pasuk that the Mosar Pesach is brought as an Ola. Here the article, I don't know when the Ozvada decides when to change the text itself, but here the art is in the text. The Ozvada put the ain in parentheses in the text itself. So Mara's going to say, no, we can't darshan this pasuk this way. It's interesting because we use logic to say that this can't be a drasha. We have to take this pasuk pshuto and not darshan it, that for referencing the Korban Pesach. So Rabbi Yavin, you can change something which is for eating purposes. The Korban Pesach, for something else which is eating purposes. For Mishlami. It can't change something which is Lachila, Korban Pesach, which is an Ola. Okay. Another reason why I can't dash in the second pasuk, we have to leave it kipshuto and say it just says means to say that, or you can bring an Ola from any type of sheep, not it's in front of the Korban Pesach. It has to be changed and done shalom l'shem shalom the rest of the year. Because I'm Rabbi Yossi Barabum, Misham Kachim Kalim, change Kachim Kalim, change Pesach, which is Kachim Kalim, lighter Kachim, clean anywhere by anybody, anywhere meaning Yerushalmi. The aim is shining Kachim Kalim, shame Kachim Kalim. You can't shame Kachim. You can make a change from Kachim Kalim, which is Pesach, to an Ola, which is Kachim. Okay, so Gemara goes on to address this issue further. Rabbi Yochanan said, Rabbi Chanina, and that was Rabbi Chanina said, and the name Moshe changes the next word from Datun to Inun. Does it change it here? Not inside. He does change it in the commentary, the article. And the Inun, they say in Bavel, and this is... the cross reference says Pei Moshe and parallel sugya in Shkolim where Rabbi China made the statement. So Rabbi China said that they say in Bavel I'm not sure it's not called Chavim Rabbanon here. But China was Babylon. Came there, so never got true smicha. It's called China Chavim Rabbanon. So and that Rabbi Chanina said the Inun Army. They say in a Pesach Mishlan Shem Shlomim Elkin Shachlo Shem Shlomim. That Pesach the rest of the year doesn't change and become Shlomim unless you shechted for the purpose of Shlomim. Ani Omer, I say I feel the Shem Ola. Right, even if you shechted for the purpose of Ola, it becomes a Shlomim. That Shalom Lishmo changes it from being Pesach to Shlomim. Rabbi Law said, time of the Rabbi Yochanan, the pasuk. Here the time is like very often the Yerushalmi. Time means the pasuk. The pasuk of Rabbi Yochanan is Viminat Sonka Banu Zevach Shlomim Koshu Zevach Ba Shlomim. The pasuk which we said Viminat Sonka Banu Zevach Shlomim Koshu Zevach Ba Shlomim. Anything which is Zevach can come as Shlomim as long as it's not done for the purpose of Korban Pesach. Okay, then those Pesach was Shabbos Shoshana. So the fine, but what about which just said that even the shame Ola? So the Korban 8 explains Koshu Zevach Klomar Kol Zevach Shivienu L'Shlomim here. In other words, we're focusing on the word L'Zevach Shlomim. So anytime you make it a different Zevach, even an Ola, that's because Shlo Lishmo comes and counteracts the fact that it's Korban Pesach and it reverts to a Shlomim. So that's just, again, Tzon no L'Zevach Shlomim. Koshu L'Zevach, anytime it comes to the it comes from any other type of Zevach, including Ola, it automatically becomes a Shlomim. I was thinking, nobody says this, but I was thinking, you could also suggest that this pasuk should actually be the other pasuk, and that Rabbi Law is really referencing. It's required, of course, change the Gersa, but it's referencing the second pasuk we talked about before. Being a tzon karon and kvasim, I mean, laola. Right, then that you see, it's mishtana laola, and if it's kosher, shara masashana. So he's saying, is that pasuk which we rejected? And say after Kipshuta, they say no, Rabbi Yochanan is learning it. Not Kipshuta, it's going on Korban Pesach. Saying this Kiddush. Kohen Pesach, Shari Moser Shana, the Shach, the Shem Ola is kosher as a Shlami. Okay, but that would change would require significant change here, so I don't see anybody made that change. So now I'm going to ask a fascinating question. A really fascinating question. Mishtan Machshavas Psul, what about Mishtan? Is a Mishtan Machshavas Psul? And the question is not actually totally clear from the language of Gemara, but what happens if Shech the Gemara, Shech the Kohen Pesach, and Shai Moshe Shona, L'Shem Machshavas Psula, for an Ola, right? Like what Yochel just said, that works. But with other Machshavas Psula, in other words, a Machshavah Pigul, right? So, does we say that it changes and it becomes a pigul because you say that you had machshav shlo lishmo, which is supposed to, and you have machshav pigul, so it becomes pigul. Do I say no? In this case, it remains a Pesach apostle because it can't have a thought to make an ola to make it a pigul. The fascinating question. Okay, so Gemara is going to elaborate that. Hey, Chavir, shach l'shem oila. I'm not saying domo l'mocher. In order to do this week is down tomorrow, which is pigul. Mikol pasul. It's pasul no matter what, right? Pasul means it's not. It's going to be. You add to add a machshava is psul. So I want to stress here: there's a difference between the machshava, the psul, and the machshava is psul. Okay, the Machshavas Psul here is referencing specifically the pigul aspect. So let's go back and do that again. Hey Chavit, Shachta l'shem olo, Amnas Zok Domo l'Apostle. You shave the purpose of Nolo, to do the Zrikas Adam tomorrow. Okay, become apostle. This carb is possible no matter what. Okay, you're not going to be able to eat it. But is it a Pesach apostle or is it a pigul? Okay, does the fact is the fact that it was moisif, the Machshavas Psul, a pigul, make it now that it was never yotze from Kohen Pesach, and therefore it's Pesach Shai Moshe Shach L'Shem Pesach. It's possible. It's not a pigul. Or do I say no? I did change it from Kohen Pesach by having my Ola or for Shlamim, and therefore it's no longer Pesach, and therefore it's not just a puzzle, it's a pigul, right? Because it's Pesach Shai Moshe, not L'Shem Pesach, and it's kosher as a korban, so therefore it's a pigul as well. So again, I'll start again. Inter Mishtam Machshavas Psul. Are we going to say Mishtam? No, sorry. Hechavi. Shach L'Shem Olav. Shach the purpose of Olav. Amenasi Zog Dam L'Machar to do Zrigas Dan L'Machar. Come puzzle. No matter what, it's puzzle. Inter Mishtam Machshavas Psul. If you're going to say it's Mishtana to Machshavas Psul, in other words, it's Mishtana even though the Machshava is a Psul, a pigul, then it's a pigul mamish. Pigul. Any time Machshavas Psul, so say that no, it's the Kol Mosi Korea adding this Machshavas Pigul to the Machshavas Psul makes it worse, and it's not a proper Machshava to be Mosim Kohen Pesach. Anytime any time Machshavas Puzzle, it's puzzle. It's puzzle, but it's not considered to be a Pigul. Pesach Puzzle is, but it's not a Pigul because the only Pigul only being a korban which is kosher in all other aspects, and it's not. It's the fact you made a Pigul here undermined your Shalol Lishmo, and therefore there remains a apostle, not a pigul. Okay, fascinating question. Okay, the next sugya looks innocuous, but there's a huge read baz because actually the sugya to the Mishnah is extremely difficult. So we'll just read the question today, which is on Amud Beis in the Art Scroll, and leave the rest of the discussion for tomorrow. Gemara says, Lishmo v'shlo lishmo Shai Moshe Shana. You had you did the Kohen Pesach Shai Moshe Shana. You start at Lishmo, and then you switch midstream to Shalo Lishmo, which of course relates to the sugya we had previously, and this sugya was going to reference that, although not mentioning Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish by Mechashim Avodah Avodah. But you start at Lishmo and Shalo Lishmo, and then you change to Shalo Lishmo Shai Moshe Shana. What's the status? Does it become? Is it good because ultimately you change to Shlo Lishmo, or which you're supposed to, or is it bad because you start at Lishmo, and that's no good. So the Gemara is going to discuss that. Rabbi Bun Bar Chia is going to address it, and then Rabbi Abba Mori is going to reject it. That's an Amud Aleph. We'll leave that for to the discussion of that for tomorrow.